Dead wax. What's up, all you cod pieces of David Bowie from Labyrinth? And welcome to the Dead Wax Show with Waffles in the Stooge. Get out of the groove and get into the Dead Wax. I am Waffles, and as always, I am joined by my older brother, close friend, and just the love of my life, Stooge. How are you, my man?
I am doing good, Waffles. Freaking, it was Record Store Day weekend, bro.
It was. Did you get
RSD,
hypothermia? RSD, bro.
RSD, bro. It's the bra. You got to put the A on the end.
Is
it A or AH?
That's a good question. See, I am British, and so it's RSD, bruv.
Okay. Yeah. Well, here in America, no, it's kidding. RSD, bra.
RSD, bruh.
I did not get hypothermia, although it was freezing. I hate you. Oh my gosh. Utah weather. Utah weather.
Okay.
Freaking, I leave my house at like 6 a.m. I'm like, oh, it's not too cold out here. Somehow, as the day went on, it got colder in Utah. I guess that can happen, but the fact that it happened on this day was really shitty.
Of all the freaking days, man.
Yeah, because we were hitting some days in like what, the 60s,
where we'd wake up and it was 60 degrees. Yeah.
And not this morning. This morning is like, it started off like in the 40s, and I felt like it got colder.
It did.
As we were waiting out there, and it was cold as hell.
Maybe hypothermia did set in now that we're talking about it out loud. Yeah,
maybe. But we survived. We did Record Store Day at Graywell. What up, Graywell? And we got some RSD stuff. We'll show you in just a second. Well, I guess I did. Waffles really didn't. But great weekend. I caught up on my sleep this morning, so I'm feeling pretty good. I've also had I want to say I probably had like 10 Mountain Dews this weekend. So caffeinated.
Yikes. Yeah, seriously.
Oh, watch out on that one. Anyways,
man, we got to make a gift. The gift will be made. That's your gift. That's the gift. Is the gift. The gift is the gift.
The gift of gift. Yep.
The gift of gift. There's a great band called Gift from God, just if anybody's listening. Very clever name.
Google them.
Stooge, you already talked about it. Let's just go into it. What did you get from Record Store Day?
All right. So I got some records for Record Store Day.
No way.
Yeah, way, bro.
The T.
That's gonna be the word of the day. I can already tell. Brah.
Oh, we haven't done a word of the day in a minute. Let's do that right now. The word of the day is brah.
Well, they ain't gonna make it all the way through. They can just watch the first minute and like brah.
Well, then we'll tell you what kind of brah at the end.
All right, brahwurts. Anyways,
all right. Great. Yeah.
Record number 1. The Offspring's greatest hits on a blue vinyl.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. This is really cool because it's like shiny. I don't know if you can see that.
Yes.
Like reflects the light and stuff.
Heck yeah.
So I had to get that. That was awesome. You can see the other one I got behind me, Zarmageddon by Czarface. The number 1 I was after. And those are the only 2 RSD releases I actually got this week. But I also got something else. I freaking caved. And I got the Fear Inoculum box set.
He caved, everybody.
I caved. It's expensive as hell. I've been wanting this album forever, though. And it is pretty cool.
And if you have the money, go for it.
Yeah, I don't regret it. I just wish it was still just like a double LP. And the regular thing, then it would have been a whole box set. But I'm glad I have it. I spun just the first because there's 5 discs in this, 5 LPs, because they only did music on one side and a sketch on the other on all 5. Talk about someone not caring about the environment. Anyways,
seriously.
So I played the first one so far, and honestly, these play super clean. Like the production, so good, like quiet, like nothing. Yep. Not even a shh. It's just
not even a shh.
Yeah. Normally, like you can hear like a little bit of static,
a little bit of fuzz. Yeah.
Nothing.
Just
it's like
So it's clean. Worth it then.
Yeah, it's good. It's well done. So
good.
It's got like a booklet inside of it too, with all these other crazy pictures because Tool.
Tool. Yeah.
But yeah, I'm super happy to add that to the collection, and now I've got like all the Tool albums. I want to say, some are boots.
Do you have all of them?
But yeah.
Wow, that's impressive.
I think there's maybe one I don't have like from early days, but
yeah. one that
Anyways,
they've made like 7 of, and
I
Maynard
think
has
I have
3
like
of them.
Undertow and On. I want to say I've got them
Okay,
all.
which is pretty much
So-
all of them. Yeah. Sick.
So
Good for you, man.
yeah. So that was my pickups from this week.
Yeah.
How about you?
I have one pickup, but so I did participate in Record Store Day, but I got records for other people. So if anyone's curious, I bought the Ramones box set, the Gojira live album, and the
Peppa
Grouch. Peppa Pig. Peppa Pig. We didn't. Everybody
On
listening,
Peppa Pig.
we did not get the Taylor Swift single. So sorry.
Sold out. We didn't get in
Sold
line
out
fast
in
enough.
like
Yeah.
seconds. Yeah.
The Swifties beat us. They're Swift.
Shocker. That was very clever. This is my only pickup though. This is a band called Foreign Hands.
Foreign Hands.
Foreign Hands. They're pretty dang new. This is their only EP. It's only got
sounds
5
dirty.
songs on it. Could be. It depends on what stereotype you're playing into. But pressing
I'm
came out
playing the
really pretty.
stereotypes.
Pressing came out really
Oh,
pretty.
that does look really cool.
Super great hardcore band. They
And it's not broken. That's awesome.
Oh, by the way, if she's listening, shout out Taylor VV on Instagram. She sent me a link to get a replacement. So thank you. Yeah.
Wow.
For cheaper than I paid for the used one. I was like mad. I was like mad. So I was like, thank you so much. And then I paid for it. And I was like, are you freaking serious? Like, so stay tuned, everybody, for what I do with that record, because I don't know what to do with it yet. But I'll do something. So
we'll do something. Maybe make some TikToks with it.
Make some TikToks. I was about to say, we'll throw you records like you used to.
Yeah.
At the old TikTok days.
Mm-hmm.
Remember those TikTok days, Stooge, when I was making vinyl challenges and you were throwing records? Oh, the good old days.
The good old days, yeah.
So young.
Now we're showing our buttholes and yeah.
Yeah, that's it. We're just showing booty holes, but we get followers. So.
The views are up.
The views are up. So anyway, that's my one pickup though. I didn't go too crazy with records this week for myself. So
good for you. Good for you.
That
As your sponsor, I want to say I'm proud of you.
Thanks, pal. I'm learning and growing, and I have a problem. So yeah.
Yes, you have a problem, and you need to slow down the record collecting as well,
or not. Stooge, today's episode is quite special. It's quite different than our normal episode. Tell the people why.
So, lately, or should I say lately? No, recently is the word I'm looking for. Not good with words.
As of late, yeah.
No, recently, a documentary about record collecting has been released. It is called Vinyl Nation. Yes. It is a documentary that covers everything about records, like manufacturing, the history, record collecting, Record Store Day, everything about it.
Yep.
And it's currently sitting at 100% on Rotten Tomatoes. You can get this documentary right now, like on iTunes. I believe you go to vinylnation.com. There's other places you can find where to see it and get your hands on this. Anyways, I've watched it. Great documentary. Fully enjoy it. I've watched it multiple times. It's really fun. Even if you're not a record collector, it's got a lot of information about, like I said, all those different topics. That's just the tip of the iceberg. If you're the Titanic, you're going all, it's game over with how much they get to cover with this. So we are lucky enough to have the creators behind the documentary join us today on this episode. So we met with them a little bit earlier, and let's go ahead now and play that interview for you listeners right now. So here it is. All right, everybody. So we are being joined right now by Kevin Smokler, Christopher Boone, the minds and the brains behind the Vinyl Nation documentary that has recently been released. They've graced us to join us on our show here. So you guys, hello and welcome. We appreciate you coming on.
Oh, thanks, gentlemen. It's good to be here.
Yeah, thanks so much.
No problem.
Thank you guys.
Yeah, definitely. We appreciate you guys coming on. We just wanted to talk about your movie. I've watched it a few times now. I've watched it on iTunes. I really enjoyed the first viewing. There's a lot of cool stuff which we'll dive into about it.
Yep.
But also, I also watched it again last night just to make sure I was a little more prepared for you guys as well.
Look at you, last night watcher. Look at you.
So, anyways, so I'll go ahead and jump us into this real quick. With Vinyl Nation, it seems like it's a project that was in the works a long time for you guys. I wanted to know like kind of what the origin of this documentary came from. Like what was the reason behind it, or why did you guys want to do this? Just curious. What was the passion behind it that got involved?
Yeah, this is Kevin. I think from the time Chris and I started talking about it until like right now, when it was released, less than a week. I think we're on day 5 maybe of when it was released.
Yeah.
I think like nose to tail, it was exactly 4 years.
Wow.
Except like from the moment we started talking about it to the moment we finished the film was 2 years. And
okay.
I think that felt very substantive to us, but then we started, the film got into some festivals and we got to meet some other documentary filmmakers, and they're like, how long did your movie take? And we're like, 2 years. And they're like, really? Did you guys own like a diamond mine outside of Johannesburg or something? Like, how are you able to get it done? I don't know. Like I think we had a certain amount of urgency because Chris and I don't live in the same place. So when we first started discussing the movie in March of 2018, I went home to California and he stayed in New Mexico. I was in New Mexico, which is when we started discussing it. And we would just get on the phone every Friday morning and see if we could sort of move the thing a little bit further along. And then around Thanksgiving of that year, Chris, who has made movies before and I have not, was like, listen, I'm the experienced filmmaker in this group. And I said, yes, you are. And he said, if we're going to start making this thing, here's what has to happen next. We got to raise money. We got to put et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, all the steps you have to go to make a movie. And I was like, okay. And he goes, that means we should have like started like getting real like 2 weeks ago. I was like, okay, well, that was sort of, someone really set the needle down on that project at fast. It wasn't just talking about it. We weren't just digging in the crates anymore. It was like, it was a real thing at that point. Yeah. And so then like we had to raise money and finish pre-production and then we ended up filming in the spring of 2019 and finishing everything in February of 2020, which was terrific timing, as you can imagine, if you know what happened next month. And
not to spoil anything.
To spoil anything. Yeah, exactly.
Something big happened. Yeah.
Exactly. So, I mean, I guess, Chris, it certainly felt like it took a while, but like I think it doesn't like comparatively maybe not. And I think we had some advantages in that, like we weren't chasing a story as it was developing. By the time the two of us started talking, the renaissance of vinyl was already 10 years old. Yeah. So like we weren't filming a developing news story. In fact, that was pretty much the first conversation we had. We said, if we're making a movie called Vinyl Nation that is about vinyl records, we're way too late to the party for this movie to be about like, hey, did you hear records are back? Like that's like 5 minutes of a 90-minute documentary given the point in history that we started at. Yeah. So Chris, maybe you can pick it up from there. Like I think like that was our first conversation was like, okay, if it's not about that, we're making a movie about the present, but about something that also has happened already. I think that helped speed it along a little bit.
Yeah, I'd say, I mean, compared to other documentaries, it was really fast to actually get it done, like finish. 2 years is quick. We definitely had some things working in our favor. We were able to pull the financing together relatively quickly, and like Kevin was just saying, we weren't chasing a story, so we didn't have to wait for it to develop. It didn't mean like we have to track this event over a long period of time. We knew who we wanted to interview. We had to put together the schedule and the logistics of getting to those locations and filming those individuals, but because of that, you just kind of keep the train rolling. So we start rolling cameras, like you said, in March in 2019. We finished shooting in June of 2019. We're straight in the post-production. And I mean, we were honestly, the bulk of it is done by the fall of 2019. And February 2020 is locking all the music, sound mix, everything. Like it is done with a bow on it at that point in time. So yeah, we were really fortunate. The fact that it's actually taking us longer to distribute the movie than it did to make it, that's not terribly unusual for any independent film either. But I find it kind of humorous that we've been actually getting this thing out into the world for a longer period of time than it took us to make, from the moment that Kevin said, "Hey, I got this idea for a documentary. What do you think?"
Yeah. So as I was actually going to be my next question is, it seems like that Kevin was the brainchild behind the idea for making this Vinyl Nation documentary. Is that correct?
Yeah. It was my idea because I love documentaries and had always wanted to make a documentary. I don't have any filmmaking skills or experience though, and Chris did, and I had seen his movies and thought they were terrific. And so we had worked on a couple of things before. I had been on book tour in Albuquerque at Chris's invitation, and we put some events together for my previous book, and we just worked really well together, and we liked spending time together, and I thought like it would be a long time before I wrote another book, and I was kind of ready to do something different. And so I told him I had this one idea for a documentary because that's the kind of movie I'd always wanted to make. And he said, "I've never made a documentary before." And I, but what the hell, we'll start talking about it once a week. And if it goes somewhere, it goes somewhere. And if it doesn't, we'll get some fun on the phone, and we'll find another reason for you to come to Albuquerque someday. And so from that is sort of where it came from.
Started.
I think it was I planted the seed, and I think Chris was kind of the master gardener.
Gotcha. Then that leads me to my next question. The whole documentary is about like the history of records, the culture of record collecting, kind of the business history as well of manufacturing and selling records. Are either one of you record collectors, or is this just an idea that you found and thought would be cool to do a movie about?
I think it would be hard to have made this movie if we weren't into records at all.
I
mean, because you got to have some sort of a passion for what you're working on. Otherwise, it would have been really hard. If I hadn't had any records whatsoever, and Kevin came to this idea, I probably thought, that's kind of interesting, but I don't see where I fit into this. So I probably would have said like, "Hey, let me like help you kind of think about it." But I don't know if I would have wanted to jump on board. That being said, my wife and I had gotten a turntable, I think right around 2014, and had been buying records since then. I don't think of myself as a collector. I have records. I enjoy listening to music on records. It's a different experience than it is listening to listening to music via another format, mainly streaming. But I totally discover music through streaming platforms. I listen to Spotify when I'm out, walking my dog, or somebody says, "Oh, you got to check out this album." That's the first place I'm going to go. But if I've been listening to an artist for a while, I want to support that artist, and I most likely want to own it on vinyl if it exists that way. So yeah, when Kevin approached me with the idea, I'm part of the resurgence. Like, I worked in a record store right after college for a year, but we didn't sell records. That's the irony. It was all CDs then, and still had a wall of cassettes, but we didn't sell a single record. So I realized I was feeling really disconnected with music when everything went to streaming. Once my wife and I started buying records again, and I was like, "Oh, this ritual of putting the record on the turntable and dropping the needle and spending time with the music and the artwork and the liner notes, it's just a totally different experience than streaming, which is kind of easy to have like on the background when you're working or just driving in your car. It's hard to drive and listen to a record at the same time. But at the same time, I was interested in the idea because my daughter, who's a teenager, she also got a turntable about a year after my wife and I did.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
And she's never owned music in a physical format except for records. And the fact that she's really adventurous in sometimes picking up a record and buying it because it's $3 and she likes the album artwork, maybe it's a great find, maybe it's terrible. It was $3. She doesn't care. I thought that was really fascinating. So I wanted to learn more about people like her. Like, why are they getting into vinyl records now all of a sudden? And that just started to open up our conversation of like, who are all the different people who are into records? Why has the resurgence lasted as long as it has? But ultimately, what does that mean in terms of how we relate to one another, how we connect to art, how we connect to music. So all those things bubbled up, as we were spitballing ideas together. How about you, Kevin? What about you in record collecting?
I don't call myself a collector. I don't think either one of us do. I am also part of the resurgence. Chris and I were both a little too young to be into records, the first time around when it was the only way to listen to music. Mm-hmm. And I got into them a little bit earlier in the comeback than Chris did, but that was completely by coincidence. It's not because I can see around corners and saw some fashion trend coming. That's not the case. Yeah. But I think like we both just enjoy it as a sort of more immersive, complete way to enjoy music. And I think we were both fascinated by the idea that this old way of listening to music, which was impractical and bulky and fragile and expensive, or became expensive again. Yeah, and right. And really and is a little bit classist because it benefits people with square footage to have to put lots of records into. Says the person who has 600 records and deals with San Francisco real estate prices. But I think we were both really interested not only in why this old way of relating to music was suddenly gaining popularity and not just with people who were nostalgic for its return, but what it said about like sort of what was our relationship to music and what did it say about our relationship to each other? And I think I think Chris and I have both experienced all of these hidden benefits of being vinyl people that we didn't know would end up being sort of elaborated on and made beautiful by the people in our movie. I don't think we could have predicted that, but I like to say the special thing that records do is they sort of obliterate the barriers of time and space in one's music experience. If your favorite band is the Beatles and you've never gotten into records before, well, the chances are that spending some time in a record store and with records and with record people, you're going to find the Searchers, who were the second most popular band in Liverpool when the Beatles were coming up. You're going to find the bands like ELO that were inspired by the Beatles. You're going to find you're going to find out eventually that Slick Rick, the first generation hip hop, prankster, was an enormous Beatles fan. All of these things, all of these walls are going to collapse that might not happen as easily in a streaming experience. I don't know why they don't happen as easily that way, but records seem to free us, musically speaking, in a way that streaming does not.
Absolutely. Yeah. So speaking of the vinyl people, how did you pick the people that you interviewed for Vinyl Nation?
Most of them were people we knew, people we had a degree or two of separation from. We did a little bit of cold calling, mostly when 2 or 3 people who we had talked to independently of each other would say, "You really need to talk to this person," and then we figured they needed to be in the movie. Yeah. And then we had a few sort of rules for ourselves. Chris, maybe you want to elaborate on that.
Yeah, I mean, early on in the process, we decided let's not go after celebrities who are into records. Just because a couple of reasons. One, we're calling it Vinyl Nation, so we're looking for a diverse group of people to include in the film. And they're not just record collectors, but they're somehow related to the vinyl record industry. And if we decide to go after celebrities, it's going to skew everything. That doesn't quite feel like Vinyl Nation. And then, to be honest, from a logistics perspective, trying to figure out schedules with publicists and agents and managers and work it out with our schedule. Like, we didn't have the time or the money to deal with that. We knew that before we got started. So it was fun. It was funny. It wasn't like one of the first things that we said, but as we were prepping it, it kind of became apparent, like, let's just kind of avoid, big celebrities. The funny thing is we include a bunch of archival footage in the film. And so as a result of including archival footage, you see glimpses of people that everybody recognizes. So we kind of have it both ways, but they're not the featured interview subjects. And I think that works really well in terms of how people can relate to who is in our film, and hopefully they can see themselves in the film. It doesn't even mean you have to be into vinyl records or collecting records to connect with the people in the film. We've certainly had people watch our film and say, I don't own records, I don't have a turntable, but now I just want to go out and buy one and start buying records. So that was something that we set out front. And then, like I said, we were looking for a diverse group of people. So we didn't want it to be, okay, this is a bunch of people from High Fidelity 20 years later. Yeah. Again, that was something that we thought was anachronistic. We thought that would be opposite of the story we were trying to tell. We make a point of that in the film, actually. And so we were looking for people who didn't look like those characters to include. We purposely looked for women who owned record stores. Again, we looked for people who were younger and getting into records, parents sharing records with their kids. And during our pre-production research, it was Oliver Wong, who's in our film, who really set us straight. I think we had been asking him some questions about, what do you think about how, vinyl fans are now a diverse group? And he's like, well, to be honest, it's always been a diverse group. It's just the media hasn't depicted it that way. You have the Ghost Worlds and the High Fidelities telling you it's a bunch of weird white dudes that are into records and keeping everybody out of their club. He's like that. He's like, I'm not a white dude, and I've been collecting records my whole life, and everyone I know is a diverse member of this community. So it's kind of on the media to portray it in a way that's a little bit more honest. And so that was a big reason for us, I think, to tell the story. Also, Kevin had come up with the title Vinyl Nation like the first time he pitched it to me. It was like Vinyl Nation, and this is why I want to call it Vinyl Nation. So that was really up at the forefront, and that led the way in terms of how we were identifying these people. But like Kevin said, most of them within the network, and then the few cold calls outside of that to make sure that we were telling like the pressing plant story, or we need to talk to both major labels and indie labels, things of that nature.
Yep. No, and I'll just say, you guys did a really good job, I feel, of getting a diverse group of individuals, like you said, whether it's people who just seem like maybe they're collectors telling their stories and their experience with record collecting, to people who work at these major labels or these record pressing plants. So I just got to say, good job. And I think like right at the beginning of the documentary, it says how like you guys mentioned, you're telling a story, which I think you did a good job, because I could the transitions in the film were good from like one topic to next. It seemed to have like a really good flow. Not that I'm an expert, but just watching it myself, I felt like nothing was too jarring when you were switching, going between different topics. So kudos to that. But I can't remember where I was going now with my train of thought. It just you did a good job. Selection of people.
Good job, boys.
As you can tell, I'm not good at telling a story. But I thought you guys did a really good job. And just kind of talking about the film some more now. I got to say, one of my favorite parts about the movie is when you guys do talk about like the record industry and manufacturing records. I feel like there's not a whole lot of exposure to that stuff. I don't know if it's because like trade secrets or whatnot, but like it's really cool to see inside the plants, to hear the stories from the people who have worked in those plants, who worked in the industry. And I thought it was really awesome that you guys were able to get in with those people and hear their input and their side of the story when it came to records. So that was like one of my favorite things. I don't know if Chris, did you, with Waffle, sorry, did you have something that particularly stuck out to you about the documentary that you enjoyed?
I mean, I love this. So when Stooge told me you guys were going to be joining us, and he sent me the documentary, it was great and everything. But I got about 2 minutes and I was like, I've seen this 2 years ago, because I was part of the group that watched this. For those listening that did not know, in 2020, something big happened in February of 2020.
Yep.
That we alluded
Valentine's
to
Day.
Valentine's Day. Danny DeVito's career finally took off. When the pandemic hit, it was really rough for Record Store Day, especially because that's when independent record stores make a lot of money. And there was what would you even call it, guys? Like a charity, like a movement? What did you guys do particularly?
It was a fundraising idea, essentially, that we came up with, that we realized all the record stores are going to be closed, obviously, for Record Store Day in 2020, and that sucked. Yeah. So, like you said, that's their biggest day of the year, and we were sitting on this movie that's finished, and we were hoping to screen at festivals. That's not going to happen. So we just tried to figure out like what could we do to actually help, and nobody had seen the film. So, so I mean, I actually looked back at my emails. Like the world really closed on March 12th, pretty much.
Yeah.
And within like a few days of that, like literally, like I think it was 48 hours after that happened, I said, Kevin, I have a really crazy idea. Like, what if we reach out to Record Store Day, the organization, and we offer them and their partner stores access to our film for one weekend, which would have been Record Store Day weekend. And we let all the stores who participate sell tickets for $10 each, and they keep all the money. We won't make any money on this, but we give it all back to them. Like, what do you think? And so, like, Kevin, what was your impression when I pitched you that idea?
On the one hand, I didn't have any better ideas, and I realized like it was becoming forbiddingly clear that we were not going to be able to like wait this thing out. Like we were all going to be isolated from one another, and for a while. And I thought that I think on the one hand I was terrified that our movie, once anybody other than us got to see it, would look like some, like historical document. None of these record stores exist anymore. These plants operate at a fraction of their capacity. People have had to sell their records because they can't go to work. I mean, whatever it was. But I picture just dire things happening. In the world that would be reflected in our movie that was all made before this happened. So I think I was panicked in that respect. And I had also on March 17th, St. Patrick's Day, I had seen the Dropkick Murphys do their annual St. Patrick's Day concert, which they normally do at the House of Blues in Boston. And they play like 15 shows in a day all weekend long. And it's an incredible thing. I'm not nutty enough to go to Boston on St. Patrick's Day. But for St. Patrick's Day 2020, they did it in an empty studio in Boston. They got the whole thing up on its feet in a flash, and they played their regular concert and they streamed it to the world over YouTube. And so I got to see their St. Patrick's Day concert, which was amazing. And then B, I'm watching the chat on the side, and no joke, at the end of this concert, they're bowing, they're saying, thank you for listening. Take care of each other. And everybody's saying, thank you, Dropkick Murphys, for such a great show, and talking about where they are. And someone was like, Kampala, Uganda, which is the capital city of Uganda, loves the Dropkick Murphys. And I had this notion that like somehow in this horrible moment of isolation, there is a way for us to kind of all be doing the same thing. Now, I wasn't smart enough to put that idea together with Chris's idea of showing the movie to everybody. But we did have an experience like that once Chris sold me on the idea of doing this fundraiser. He handled the kind of back of the house stuff, and I did the front of the house. So he was handling ticketing and the relationships with the record stores and stuff like that, and customer service. And I was doing all of the social media kind of stuff. And we started hearing from not only people in pretty much all 50 states in the US, but when you start getting notes like I live in Bucharest, how can I see your movie? I live in Cape Town, how can I see your movie? I mean, it's just, we knew that not only had we made a movie that at the very least spoke to people, but probably just the subject was a kind of unifier and a feel-good subject in a really awful time.
Yeah.
No, definitely.
I love that. I think the reason I bring that up is because my favorite part is the opening of the movie where they're at Record Store Day. And so it's when you guys did that in 2020, I was really excited because, like I said, there was not going to be a Record Store Day. So I made an event of it. I put it on my laptop. I bought a bunch of snacks and I sat in the dark on the floor and I watched the entire movie and I loved it. So getting to watch them participate in Record Store Day was a fun little nostalgia moment. So then when Stooge sent me the documentary, the opening scene, I had like the flood of like, I forgot how great this part is. Like, that's why it's my favorite part, because I was like, oh my gosh. So
Yeah, we had a lot of people who watch it that weekend. We only made it available for that weekend.
Yeah.
And we did it cobbled it together in weird ways so that it wasn't actually available through like the traditional outlets. So we kind of put it up ourselves, put it behind a password. We had total control of it. We could take it all back down again. So it wasn't like we had released it or anything like that. But it was cool to hear there were record stores that coordinated like synchronized screening times.
Yep.
And so everybody get on at this time, we'll watch it and we'll live tweet it together. And so we would jump into some live tweets and
that's so
talk
cool.
with people while they're watching it. And we're getting all these messages back from people. And we ended up selling almost 3,700 tickets for that weekend.
Oh, nice.
So
which
cool.
was wild. And so that meant the record stores raised a collective of $37,000. And, that paid some rent for some people, and it kind of kept things moving. But more than anything, like you were saying, Waffles, it brought people together on a day that they wish they were at record stores, and they could kind of have a moment as if they were celebrating. And a lot of people, like I said, found a way to do it together while separate.
Exactly.
And if we could bring a little bit of joy into the world at a moment in time that was very confusing, very scary, a month into this thing, nobody would have guessed at that point in time that we'd still be grappling with this to this point in time. And finally, 2 years later, we have like an actual record store day back on the original record store day weekend. I don't think anybody would have figured that out. What's so crazy to me, though, is that despite our panic, as Kevin said, most record stores are well run, not only survived, they ended up thriving because they were able to continue to sell records. The fact that records last year in 2021, vinyl album sales in the US went up 50% over 2020, and 2020 was a big year already. I mean, it was like 41.7 million albums were sold in the US on vinyl. That's bananas. And that the pressing plants were already stressed, and there have been some that have opened since, and they're stressed. And now on top of it, you got the raw materials issues. The Apollo Masters fire with the lacquers. Like, it's crazy to me that it has ballooned as much as it has, because Kevin and I were doing interviews from that kind of point on, and people say, well, do you think it's going to keep going? And we said, well, yeah, we think it's going to keep growing, but probably not the same rate. It's gone up exponentially since. We did that 2 years ago. So it's crazy. I don't think it will keep going quite at that rate, but once you start collecting records, it's kind of hard to stop. They're
it is really hard to stop,
man. Once you pop, you can't stop. And so I think a lot of young people are still going to get into it, and people our age are excited by it again. And then people who have always been collecting now, they may grouse that it is expensive, as we were talking about earlier. But hey, you're a Bill Evans fan, you're kind of grateful for Record Store Day putting out some rare Bill Evans, recordings. So
Absolutely.
There's something there for everybody. And there's a way in for everybody. And we hope that we showed that, hey, it's actually a welcoming community now. It's not what you think it was, 20 years ago. And if you are somebody who's keeping people out of it, you're just not gonna survive in business, because somebody else is going to come along and say, I got a better store than you, and I'm going to treat people well and make friends. Just like Judy Mills says at the beginning of the movie, quick, authentic connections. Let's go make friends. I mean, that's for her. That's the philosophy of Record Store Day. She doesn't say, let's sell records, because that's not what it's about.
Exactly.
I was gonna say we're in Salt Lake City, both of Waffles and I, and there's a handful of record stores we can choose from to frequent and visit and patron. But there's one that we go to basically every time we got to go record shopping called Graywell. And a major part of it is because the owners are so great. They're so good to us. They're super friendly, very welcoming. And like when we go in, they know us. Like they say, oh, hey, Chris. Hey, I don't know if they call you Waffles, but they usually call me Stooge. It's great. It's great to go someplace that's inviting, and that where everybody knows your name, I guess you could say. But what I wanted to do real quick, just kind of continuing on your topic there with how record sales have been going. So Chris, I always want to go like this, but it's inverted. So Waffles has been collecting records for like how many, like 15, how long have you been collecting records? 12 years now. Whereas, so he's been there since like the first Record Store Day almost, and has been a part of that culture and everything way longer than I have. I actually only started collecting back in 2018. And so my collection, like I started off, doing bargain bins, dollar bins, stuff like that. That's where I started. Anything over $10, I'm like, should I buy this record or not? You know, here we are, you know, and fast forward to 2022. And after a pandemic, my record collection's over 600 now. Like I have 600 plus records. And it doubled from the start of it more than doubled from the start of the pandemic till now. And I think a big reason for that, you know, some people, unfortunately, when the pandemic hit, they hit hard times financially, and that sucks. We luckily for me and my family, we didn't hit a whole lot of hardships, and I was able to work remotely. Whereas, so before, when I would be doing my job, I would drive a lot. I would, you know, stream music, you know, listen to things on the radio. Now that I'm home, I have so much more time to put a record on. And so I think that's really helped me, you know, dive into record collecting even harder, I guess you would say, is that I've actually got the time for it now. I don't have to, you know, be away from home. My income wasn't really impacted by the pandemic. So I think there's a lot of people out there who might have the same experience. It's like, I've got some extra time now. I can put a record on and actually enjoy it. Whereas before the pandemic, where most people had to go into a location for work, now they've got a little bit of flexibility there. So, but anyways, that was my record collecting experience. It has become an addiction, like you were hinting to, Chris. It's really hard to you know, make sure that you keep to a budget and don't upset, you know, the missus or whoever. So anyways, I just wanted to share that information. I like you said, I'm interested to see how far this keeps going. Like I imagine, you know, it'll plateau as well. But how about you guys? Do you? I don't know if you're like, you know, business analyst or can project the future, but where do you kind of see it going? Where do you think? Because you've got, you know, opinions and experience in this field. What do you think? I'll start with you, Chris.
Actually, I was a business analyst in a former life, and I was assigned to forecast the future. But I also realized that industry is kind of full of shit, if I can say that on your podcast. So I don't know if I'm really good prognosticator, but like I was saying, I based on the numbers right now, it's going to continue to grow. It's just like record fans aren't going away anytime soon, and the pressing plants are doing everything they can to keep up. But, you know, both the major labels and the indie labels have realized like there's just a high demand for this. So I don't see it slowing down tremendously, but I imagine at a certain point, if you price out your customers, things are going to slow down. I will say, I think Record Store Day is an awesome event. I think it's a great way to get people to celebrate the record stores that they love and come out and see people they haven't seen for a while or meet new friends. And it's not really just about those releases. While that kind of gets people excited, it's just about going out to the store if you want to and checking out what's there. And a lot of record stores that do a good job with it have great used record drops on that day. I will say, I feel like I look at the list every year and I'm maybe not as adventurous as other people, but I don't even recognize most of the stuff on the list. And even those things I do recognize, I'm like, wow, we're really digging deep, like super deep to try to put something out on vinyl that maybe we didn't need on vinyl. But hey, if that's what's going to get people excited, I'm not upset about it. You know, so I think that's what's really cool about it. But it doesn't, you don't have to just get in line like everybody at the beginning of the day. There's going to be cool stuff going on throughout the whole day. Absolutely. Hopefully there's some live music. Maybe you can grab a donut, you know, maybe a food truck is pulled up, and just kind of go shopping for records. And, you know, if the crowds aren't your thing, well, then go like the week after. It's just a great reminder of like, these places are the places we love. We want to hang out there. And if we want them to exist in a pandemic or not in a pandemic, we need to support them. And that was the whole reason for Record Store Day in the beginning. So I do think it's going to continue to grow. I don't think it'll keep up the astronomical growth rate, but I've just been shocked these past 2 years. And we made a whole documentary about it. So I don't know. Kevin, what about you? Where do you think it's going from here?
I mean, selfishly, I think I speak for both of us when I say we're glad it continued. You know, the amount of time between us finishing the movie and us actually getting picked up by a distributor being available to everybody was a lot of time. And if the record business had cratered in those 2 years, I don't know what would have become of us or Vinyl Nation. Thankfully, that didn't happen. I couldn't. I mean, I have no business skills. I couldn't even begin to predict where this is all going to go. I can say what I hope happens, which is that I think one of the bigger things I've learned in making Vinyl Nation with Chris is that there are sort of roughly two kinds of record people, and they're not Cain and Abel. They're not oppositional to another. They exist side by side. And there are people who view records like visiting old friends, which is like, these are my favorite bands. And now I've gone about the process of acquiring them in this old new medium, and I'm having that different experience with them. And maybe I'll sample some things new, but basically records are a way to get reacquainted with what I already like, and maybe dig vertically down along into the trove of the ore trove of what I already like. And then there are people who are seekers and adventurers and sort of see records as a continuing sort of opening of doors and the turning on of lights and the discoveries of trap doors and sliding panels and so my favorite band is the Staple Singers, which opened the door to Chicago soul music, which opened the door to Chicago hip hop, which opened the door to Chicago alternative rock from the 1990s, and which opened the door to sampling, which opened the door to DJ culture, and so on and so forth. And I think both of those are equally valid. Selfishly speaking, as a seeker and as an adventurer, I think what records do so beautifully is they encourage us all to be seekers and adventurers musically. If that's not you, if that's not your relationship with music, no harm, no foul. I think there's lots of ways to have fruitful relationships with music. Speaking selfishly, because that's who I am, I hope as records become a bigger and bigger part of our musical lives, and I think they will continue to, maybe not at the same astronomical rate every year. I hope the seeker circle grows bigger. I guess I would say.
Gotcha. Waffles, what would you say you are? The seeker or the trove diver, or the?
That's a good question. I'm probably the first one, the former. Like I have the stuff I like, and so I'll just go after it, because like there's maybe it's generalized anxiety, couldn't tell you. But I do the occasional blind buy, but I tend to already know the albums I buy.
Yeah. Oh, I should clarify. I don't do blind buys. Vinyl is too expensive now, and takes up too much room in one's house. There's too many built-in inconveniences to do blind buys.
Yes.
So I generally need something telling me why I should go to the next room and turn on the lights. And so I actually gather a lot of evidence before I go to the next room. But I got to tell you, and that's a lot of what I think both Chris and I use streaming for. You use streaming to discover because it's cheap and easy. And then you're like, oh, you use streaming to kind of look around the neighborhood. Then inevitably you'll see Superfly on the corner who will be like, over here.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh God. and pretty soon, Superfly opens his jacket and it goes, I got 180 gram vinyl. I got the 3-disc box set. You didn't know that like the Depeche Mode made 7 albums after Violator and they're all available on vinyl. Did you? And then Superfly's got you.
And they've got you.
Yeah.
I think there is like a magic that is, I'm going to sound like old man yelling at the clouds right now.
Yeah.
I think there is a magic that comes from going to a record store and digging, because so many modern collectors, especially in the pandemic, not to be that guy, but like younger people, are sticking strictly to online sales. And that's cool. Same thing. Go for it. Do whatever you want. There's no rules anymore. Do crimes. Do whatever you want. But there is a magic that comes to going to a record store, digging, and then that like serotonin rush you get from going, oh my gosh, they have this. Or I know one song off of this. Or this band influenced this band I love. Whatever. Like that feeling there, I've never found anything quite like it. Taco Bell, when you eat it, is very equal to that. But like there is a very distinct feeling. Or when you just like are at a record store. I may not do a lot of blind buys, but when I do them, I've rarely ever disappointed. Like I've been in a record store. I think the album art is really cool, or I think the hype sticker is funny, so I'll buy the record. And I'll be like, you know what, this is cool. And then I like have a special memory associated with that record. So,
but also if you're in a record store and you pull that album and you're like, there's something about it attracts you. You don't know what exactly it is. The best thing is you can ask somebody. You can go to the people who work there and be like, what do you know about this? And they're not even that knowledgeable. Like, just take it out and put it on the turntable.
Exactly.
You're like, but they'll probably tell you, oh my God, you have to own that because of blah, 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 blah. You know, it's this amazing album. You just need to take that home with you. And you're right. It's just that sense of discovery flipping through the bins. And you know, you have to flip through like so many records. But it doesn't matter because that next one, that could be it. That could be the record that you've been wanting for a long time. You've forgotten. It's just like in the back of your mind, and boom, you come across it. And you just can't get that. Like I said, you can buy your records on the internet, and there's nothing wrong with that. But you're just the sense of discovery, that hit, like you said, of adrenaline or serotonin, whatever it is just like, oh, that's just so great. You just don't know what you're going to find. And that's kind of the whole reason. You could go into a record store and you could touch all the records and just realize maybe that day you didn't find anything. And it still didn't feel like a waste of time. It was still enjoyable. Still fun. You were like, maybe something's going to happen here. All right. I didn't see anything that I really wanted. Say hi, to your record store owner. I'll come back in a week or two and see what else is here. So, it's always good time.
Yeah, it's definitely like gambling where it comes to that serotonin rush. And just kind of a quick story too. I don't know if you saw. I grabbed this. I don't know if either one of you are familiar with this album. It's Black Rock. It's actually a hip hop album produced by the Black Keys. So Dan Auerbach and Patrick Carney.
No kidding.
So yeah, they've got like they got like Q-Tip on this, Ludacris, a few other like major hip hop names, Mos Def, just to name a few. And as you can imagine, they didn't make a whole lot of these, And so trying to find one online, like on Discount or something like that, it goes for a lot. And I still remember the day, like just going to a record store, not expecting to find anything, and then digging through the hip hop section, and I find this, and you yell out, "Holy shit!" Like this that you are able to actually find something like that you really want, and just kind of speaks what you're saying, Waffles. It's it's that serotonin hit. It's exciting, and it's not something you can necessarily get online. Once again, online shop all you want, but there's fun in going to the store and finding something that you would love to have.
Well, and you have that story now with that record. So like every time you pull that record out, that story comes back to you, like that experience, that joy of like, I still remember when I found this, where I found it. Each
Traffic
record tells
Records
a story. Like if it's used and it's got some pops here or a little scratch there. Okay, so maybe it's not mint, but the record has a story. Somebody had a story with that record, and now it's been passed along to you. So every time you hear that song, if you're waiting to hear the little pop there, like I definitely have those albums like, oh, it's gonna pop, pop, pop. It's on three rotations, and then it's gone. But that's how I hear the song, because that's the record that I own, and someday somebody else will hopefully have that record, and that's how they'll hear the song. So it's just awesome to have those stories associated with hopefully most of the records in your collection. Again, I do not have that connection with any of my Spotify playlists.
So. No.
This playlist got me through a really hard time.
Yeah.
That may be true, but when I click on it, I'm not like, oh, I remember that day when I put all these songs together in a list.
Yep.
And
when I push that download button so that they're with me everywhere I go.
I didn't even have to. It's just there. I mean, like I said, I listen to it all the time, but the association's totally different.
Absolutely.
And I mean, with that, like if you had found, I mean, you can discover Black Rock on Spotify, but if that's as far as you had gone, you probably wouldn't have even known that it was. I mean, there's no easy way to tell that it was an Easy Eye release and Dan Auerbach was responsible for it. You're not going to have that Daffy Duck moment, in the Duck Amuck cartoon where he's like, "Who is responsible for this?" Like, but now that you have the record, you will, and you'll say, "Oh, Dan Auerbach's responsible for this," and so like, what's he up to? And you'll look at Easy Eye, and from that, you'll not only discover the Black Keys if you didn't know the Black Keys, but you'll discover Yola, and you'll discover all the other folks on Easy Eye, and then you'll say, what the hell's in the water in Akron, Ohio? Because the Black Keys and Devo and the Pretenders and 100 funk bands all came from Akron, Ohio, and pretty soon you're off. And that only comes because a record is a physical presence that lives with us. We can't close the laptop and have all our records go away.
That's
way we can with the Spotify playlist.
Yeah, it's a good way of putting it.
Yeah. All right. Well, I just wanted to ask you guys now, like you made your documentary a couple of years ago now. And like we had talked about during the show, I mean, this record collecting and vinyl manufacturing, everything like that, it's kind of skyrocketing. I don't know if the whole industry's changed a whole lot, but has there been any change or anything about vinyl, record collecting, vinyl manufacturing that has happened in the last couple of years that would make you want to do like another kind of documentary about record collecting, or is it kind of like a one and done thing? You guys think you covered it pretty well? Because I think you did do a good job. You did cover all sorts of topics from manufacturing to like recycling, talking about the environmental impacts that record. You guys covered a whole gambit of issues. But where do you see this continuing on, Vinyl Nation?
I mean, I think speaking personally, independent of the movie, I think the thing that Chris and I learned or got from this experience is given that it was our first documentary and it was born under the absolute worst set of circumstances, we are continually surprised at how far it has gone. We certainly thought we made a good movie. I mean, everybody does, or why did you spend all this time and effort on it, money? And but we had no idea it was going to go as far as it went. And so, speaking personally, I think the two things that we took from the experience is we have some opportunities we think that we didn't think we would have, and two, that we work really well together. And so based on that, I think we're gonna have a sit down in a few weeks and just figure out okay, well, we've kind of climbed this hill and we've got a little bit of a view. What do we want to do with this experience? And I think the next thing we do, if it goes anywhere, we'll probably start much as this one did because it worked. So why mess with it? We'll probably just start talking and seeing where the thing develops. I think, I'm not going to speak for Chris, can speak for himself, but I think obviously we aren't the last word on the story of vinyl. The story of vinyl continues, and thank God we're all part of it as it's happening. Yeah. But I think I wouldn't be surprised if we did something else together, if we touched on a lot of the same emotions and subjects we did, our relationship to the things we create, and what is our relationship to music and art and technology and all that kind of stuff. But I don't feel like we have another vinyl documentary in us, Chris.
Gotcha.
What do you think?
I don't. Yeah, Vinyl Nation 2 has not really been bubbling up for us. There were certainly places that we wish we could have gone that were on our map as we were planning this out, and for time and budget reasons we didn't get there. I mean, there are some fantastic record towns that we just didn't visit. But that being said, we tried our best to be representative in terms of who we talked to, and we made sure that we didn't just focus on, New York, LA, Nashville, Austin, call it a day and say Vinyl Nation. We worked to go to places that maybe were a little bit off the beaten path, but there was a reason for us to go there because the story led us in that direction. So while maybe we didn't touch all 50 states in the telling of the story, what's been fascinating is in getting the movie out, we have touched all 50 states in this long journey of getting the movie ultimately released. And then obviously now it's widely released. Sure, anybody can see it, but it's been great. As soon as you mentioned Gray Whale, I was like, oh yeah, they were one of our partners. They were actually a really good partner for us in both the fundraising event and then also when we did a virtual cinema event later in 2020. And so it's just been fun to get to know people through the process of releasing the film. And I feel like now if I travel to a city that I've never been to before, I probably already know a good record store that I could go to. And I may actually know somebody who works there, even though I have never met them face to face or even talked to them on the phone. So that's always kind of fun and exciting to think about, like, oh, I can't wait to actually visit that town and check out that record store. But in terms of going back to the well, I don't know. I'm more excited to tell other stories. I think I'm really a project based guy. Like I like that something that has a beginning, a middle, and an end, and then I want to dive into something else. And for me too, I also like to learn when I'm making a project, be it a fictional project, a narrative project. There's probably something I'm working on, and I want to learn about it through that project. Obviously, with a documentary, it's everything about it is what are we going to learn through this process while also connecting to the story. So we've learned a ton about vinyl records and everyone and everything associated with them. So I'm kind of curious to go on a different journey at this point.
That's fair.
Yeah.
And I think like you said, things have changed for sure in the community, in the industry, but is there enough for an entirely new story? Is there enough for Too Fast, Too Vinyl?
Good question.
I don't know.
Vinyl Destination 2, like
Vinyl Secret
Pandemic
of the Ooze.
Vinyl Nation 2, the Electric Boogaloo.
Exactly.
Vinyl Continent. It's bigger than a nation.
Well, that's the thing. It's nation. Yeah, exactly. I mean, Kevin and I had joked before, like you could take this concept to a variety of different countries.
Absolutely.
You could do a whole series on visiting record stores for sure. But after a while, it's like it's just like that'd just be visiting cool record stores.
Exactly.
And I'm sure somebody might do it, or some people do it in terms of YouTube videos and things like that. So that's great. I think you can continue to explore, but I think we're probably off somewhere else now. I guess if somebody came to us and said, "Here's a bunch of money, and that's what we want you to do," we'd think about it.
Spielberg contacts. Exactly.
Netflix
is like, hey, we need to get those subscribers back. And you're like, all right.
If you insist,
exactly.
I think it's fair to say we'll always both be vinyl people. Like I don't see us losing interest in that way of experiencing music or coming up with something better. I'm not sure there is something better. So, so I think we'll always be vinyl people. And I think there'll be a record store day every year, and we will.
Someone's going to call us up.
Someone will call us.
Absolutely.
Hey, what about those two guys?
Yeah, I wrote a book in 2016, which is actually the reason Chris and I went to college together, but had been out of touch for a long time. And the reason we got back in touch is this book about 80s teen movies I wrote in 2016 called Brat Pack America. And the book did fine, and I had a great time. It wasn't anybody's idea of a bestseller, but like, I can't go 15 feet without someone whistling the Breakfast Club theme or pointing to some neon and saying, well, you must have something to say about this. So like the equivalent is like now I finally discovered this because enough people asked, and I realized it was a way to sort of keep my book in the conversation. Every year now on March 24th, which is officially Breakfast Club Day, I end up spending the whole day on social media, doing Breakfast Club trivia and stuff like that.
That's awesome.
It's good to have stuff like this. It's good to have stuff, and it's good to have more than one. Like I would much rather if Chris and I have another project, if we have another project to be made, I'd much rather we'd be the vinyl guys and the history of microbrewed beer guys or something like that, rather than just the vinyl guys.
The vinyl guys. Yeah. Gotcha. Perfect. Well, I've taken up an hour of your guys' time now, so I just want to say, we'll go ahead and wrap it up. But before we do, first thing I want to say is just thank you guys both for coming onto the show, but also making this documentary, because I'm not just saying this; it's really, really good. And anyone who hasn't seen it, whether you're a record collector or not, should definitely check it out. And what I'm going to do now is I'll turn it over to either Chris or Kevin, whoever wants to do it. can you let the people know who are listening, like where they can find this and any other things you want to plug about it? Go ahead, Kevin.
Well, this is Chris. I'll
Chris,
just let everyone know. No, it's totally fine. Kevin pointed at me, so I'm talking. You can go to our website, vinylnationfilm.com, and it'll tell you all the platforms where you can find our movies. So basically, any platform where you rent or buy movies online, you can find Vinyl Nation. So yeah, just go there, check it out. If you like it, leave a review on that platform. It does help. If you didn't like it, don't leave a review. Let other people who like it leave. No. And then you can follow us on socials. That's all Kevin. So Kevin, where can people find us on social media?
The socials, we are on Instagram and Facebook at Vinyl Nation Doc. We're pretty active on both. Someone just asked, why aren't we on TikTok? A good
because
question.
We are in our 40s.
Yeah,
and that is why.
Yeah,
you never
a good question.
Come on, you guys. Come on. TikTok's great.
Yeah, no, we
Kevin's going to get on that, right, Kevin?
Release the entire documentary in 1 minute chunks.
Yeah, exactly. It's a 19 platter box set or something.
Exactly.
In a suitcase. So Vinyl Nation Doc on both Instagram and Facebook.
Awesome. Perfect. Thank you guys. And just one more, just to kind of, add proof to the pudding. You guys, this documentary on Rotten Tomatoes, and I know people don't always like to put a whole lot of weight in that stuff, but it's 100% right now on Rotten Tomatoes. If you guys go to your rating, 100% still. So I think that is just more evidence that, people should definitely go check this out. So once again,
genuinely good. Yeah. It's genuinely good. Like we're not because we're vinyl people. It is really fun to watch. It's really good.
It's a good watch. Yeah. So thank you guys once again for coming on. We really appreciate it. We had a blast talking with you, and for everyone else, if you haven't seen Vinyl Nation, go check it out as soon as you can. Yeah. So awesome interview with Kevin and Chris there. And I know we've said it a million times already, but Vinyl Nation, if you haven't seen it, go see it right now. And then tell us that you saw it, because if you don't, we've got packages arriving on your doorstep soon that will explode and kill you.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Everyone, if you're realizing this with me in this moment, that Stooge did not tell me about this plan before. So
it was your idea.
Hey, that doesn't mean you didn't tell me about the plan. It just came from my brain. If you guys have ever seen Inception, that's what we did. But seriously, the documentary is fantastic. Highly recommend. Please go watch it. If nothing, because it just is fun to realize that we're not alone with how nuts we are with our hobby and our community. So feeling relatable, feeling understood, and also it's really sweet. So go watch it.
Yeah, go watch it. It's good. And I'm not just saying that. It's good.
He's not just saying that, folks.
You'll enjoy it.
Yep. All right, Stooge. What's our next section of the episode today?
Our next section is Q&A. No, I'm just kidding. Almost let you.
Got me good.
It is trivia. So, this week's trivia.
Yeah.
Because our good old friends Czarface released an album this weekend for Record Store Day. Mm-hmm. I was like, and because they're one of my favorites, we're doing Czarface.
Heck yeah, we are.
That's what today's trivia is going to be on, is Czarface.
Okay.
Do you think I can say Czarface again before we do a quiz about Czarface?
Say just one more time.
Czarface.
There it is. Say crack.
So, here we go.
Okay.
You, if you get, there's only 10 questions, so there's not a whole lot.
Okay.
If you get 5 or more correct,
you
are a Czar legend. I don't know. You're the hero.
Okay. Good work.
And if you get less than that, you're a villain.
See, I don't think anybody watching this thinks of me as a hero.
They've all checked out.
Exactly. It'll be just perfect, man.
Before we even jump into this quiz, I just want to give people a quick preview of what Czarface is. For people who aren't familiar, and I'm not going to give away too much because some of the questions are here in the trivia, but it's a hip hop group, and they do lots of hip hop featured around a comic book character. It's got like a whole gimmick to it, you know. And they're really funny because the reason I like them is, one, they got more of the boom bap style when it comes to their style of hip hop. They've got really fun bars, rhymes, lyrics, whatever you want to call them. Those are great as well. And overall, it's just an enjoyable experience. If you love hip hop, hell, even if you don't love hip hop, especially if you hate hip hop, go check out Czarface.
Heck yeah.
So
love it.
Anyways,
I like Czarface. I don't even like hip hop that much. So agreed.
Yeah. Check out Czarface. So here we go. We're gonna learn more about Czarface now in this quiz.
Learning and growing at the same time. Love it.
Yeah. All right, here we go.
Okay, let's do this.
Question number 1.
Yes.
Can you name the members of Czarface? I'll give you a hint. There's 3 of them.
Ooh, I can name 2 for sure. Inspectadec and Esoteric. The third.
He's the one that makes the beats.
Oh, shoot. I don't know. Who is it?
His name is 7L. DJ 7L.
Couldn't have told you that. Could not have
that's all right.
But, hey, I got 2 of them.
Esoteric, DJ 7L, and Inspectadec. Yep. Inspectadec is an OG member of which New York rap supergroup?
Wu-Tang, right?
Wu-Tang, yep. Protect your neck.
I got a point.
Inspectadec of the Wu-Tang Clan is a member of this group. The other 2 members, Esoteric and 7L, are from this city that is also home to the NBA's Celtics.
Boston?
Sports. You got it.
Hey!
You did it.
Yeah,
how did you
how the sports?
Yeah, you're not good at the sports, but how did you know that?
Sports. So I really love modern baseball and also American football. So I tend to like be clued in to a lot of the teams. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's all.
Okay.
That's my whole reason.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, that didn't clear anything up for me, but I appreciate it.
I'm also big into Canadian softball.
Canadian softball. Nice.
Another band. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Is there really a band named Canadian Softball?
They're like a spoof band, but they do exist. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Anyway,
I'm gonna do Saharan hockey. That'll be my team's.
I would in a heartbeat listen to a band called Saharan Hockey. That is so cool.
Or what's the one where they do the thing where
curling?
They yes. We should do
South African curling.
That's like a whole continent. Oh, not really, but let's do.
South
South
Africa
Africa is a country. It is a country. It is a country.
South Africa is a country. Steve.
I know, but
if we need to go over this,
it's too broad. let's do like Nigerian
curling.
There
Love
you go.
it. Okay,
all right.
Sick. If anybody's still listening at this point,
no one has. They're all checked out. This one's all over the place.
Okay.
All right, here we go. What year did Czarface form?
2014.
You were really close. I'll give you a point for that. It's 2013, actually.
13. Gosh dang it. I won't give myself a point because it wasn't right.
How many studio albums did they have?
So a couple of the albums have like 2 versions. So we're just doing like the regular.
Yeah, we're not doing instrumentals.
Okay.
If that's what you mean.
I'm just going to. They have 6? Dang it. What do they have?
They have twice that many.
12?
Yeah.
Really? Well, there you go.
Albums. Yeah.
Well, there it is.
There it is.
And there it is.
Here we go. Czarface has made 2 collaborative albums with this late hip hop artist.
MF Doom.
MF Doom, indeed. R.I.P. Doom. Czarface is featured in this 2021 superhero film.
Venom, right?
Venom. Let there
be Venom.
Let there be Venom. Let there be Carnage. I'll let you. Venom's good enough. Good job.
Oh, yeah, Carnage. Let there be Carnage. Okay.
Let there be Carnage. All right, here we go. Czarface has had this many RSD releases.
That is a good question, dude.
Like they actually dropped their albums on Record Store Day. They're big proponents of it.
Question.
Another reason why I like them. Good, yeah.
Really?
3.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Can you name them?
The ones they've released
on Record Store Day.
Zarmageddon.
That's one. Good job.
I'm just gonna have to guess the other 2. What's the Metal Face one? What are the MF Doom ones?
MF Doom, no, it's not gonna be that one.
Dang it.
Czarface meets Metal Face.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that didn't even work.
All right.
Just give me the other. Every hero needs a villain. And,
nope, not that one either.
Okay. What's the other 2 then?
Czar Noir.
Okay.
It's where it's got the black czar on it. Anyways, and then my first one I ever got, which was The Odds Are Against Us.
Oh, okay.
That was the first record store record I ever picked up.
Yeah, that's correct.
2019.
Yep. Simpler
All
time.
right.
Simpler time.
Yes, much simpler time.
Yeah.
Last question here.
Okay.
The song Burrito is about an unfortunate food poisoning incident that Esoteric suffered at this establishment. It's a song about him eating something and then pooping himself and throwing up everywhere in the restaurant.
In the restaurant?
Yeah.
That's how severe it was? Holy
you should listen to it. It's funny.
I will. Del Taco.
That's not Del Taco. Sorry. It is Chipotle. At a Chipotle, he ate a bad burrito.
Interesting.
And according to the song, pooped and threw up himself.
Oh my gosh.
And wasn't able to make it into the bathroom. So
he should ask if they could like sponsor him or something like that. That'd be great.
Well, I mean, after that, I don't know. Well, it's funny in the song, he shits on the employees and everything, and then shits on himself.
That's funny.
Yes.
That's freaking right, Esoteric. Poor guy, just trying to have a burrito.
Yeah.
But he made a song out of it, so maybe it's meant to be. It's just like Adele's ex, where it's like, what a scumbag, but also because of him, we have great music. So it's the same thing.
And same thing with Taylor Swift.
What? Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm okay.
That had like weird. A chill go through your soul.
Yeah, it did. It did.
You know what's so funny is uttering the words Taylor Swift to you. You're just like, it's the same with us. Taylor Swift.
I think it was the rush of caffeine. Is
there caffeine in vitamin water?
Yeah.
I don't think I knew that.
This one's energy. It's supposed to have. Let's see. It's got. This is very good content
2
here.
Drops of caffeine.
It doesn't tell me how much caffeine it has.
2 drops.
But I know there's caffeine in it, unless they've changed it.
Yeah.
Anyways,
you know that all too well. It's okay.
How many did you get right?
I got 5.
Nice. You're a hero, bro.
I've never heard that before. That is so sweet. I love it. I love that. That was a good one. Czarface is really interesting.
It is.
Especially because
really
I don't always know hip hop stuff. But ever since like being friends with you, I have listened to a lot of Czarface because it's really, really interesting.
Czar Noir.
How many of those do you have?
He keeps it closed. I got another one. You can see it right there.
Right over there.
Move my head. There it is. You see him? He's right there. Yeah. I'm tickling his toes. And then I
hope it's his toes.
I got a glow in the dark one.
Ooh.
I feel like such a kid right now.
Whatever, dude.
My dolls.
It's awesome.
And then I've got the impostar. Anyways, it's a red one. And that's then I've also got a mini disc.
Like
I haven't opened it.
As in like a literal mini disc player mini disc?
It's like a little vinyl, yeah. They have like
it's like a 3-inch record?
3-inch one, yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
It's 3-inch. And then I've got all this
doing those, didn't they?
I don't know.
I don't know if they keep doing those.
I don't know if they keep doing it either.
Well, there you go. Fun fact.
But yeah. Love Czarface.
Love Czarface, man. Love it.
Mm-hmm.
Stooge, what's the next section?
Q&A. Last segment of the show is Q&A.
I can start doing that if you ever get sick of the theme song.
Yeah, you can do it. Go ahead.
Okay.
Let's have you do it a shot.
Okay. All right. So Q&A, everybody.
I think you did better than I do.
I mean, it's no competition, but Simon Cowell did just give me a call. All right. We got 4 questions. First off, as we always say, thank you to everybody that submitted questions. It makes it so much easier for us and helps us create content. So thank you. First question comes from our buddy Vinyl to the Core.
Vinyl to the Core.
Vinyl to the Core. He asks, musician death that hit you the hardest. It's a good question. Musician death that hit you the hardest.
Musician death that hit me the hardest. I'm trying to think. How about you go first? Do you have one?
Okay, yeah. I do. So number 2 is probably Joey Jordison from Slipknot. That was really sad just because he was really young. And Joey wasn't doing great health-wise, but still, like, super sad. But the number 1 that I think hit me the hardest, not necessarily because I love the band, but there was this metal band called Huntress, and their singer was this beautiful woman. I saw them live just like a month before she died, and she committed suicide, sadly. in a really horrible way. She jumped in front of like a train or a truck or something like that while they were on tour. So her bandmates woke up and had to find her. It was terrible. But like to hear all that and hear all the pain she was going through, and then to be like, I saw her, I made eye contact with her just a few weeks ago, was like, it hit me super hard that day. So it was really rough. It's not like I love Huntress. It's not like I'm obsessed with them, but they were good. They were really, really good. And I enjoyed their performance. And so then to walk away and just a few weeks later hear that she was dealing with so much that she committed suicide, it was just horrible. So that was a rough one.
Yeah.
What about, were you able to think of one?
Yeah. Thinking about it a little bit more, I think I'd probably Adam Yelk might be my most one. Even though I wasn't listening to Beastie Boys heavily at the time of Yelk's passing, it definitely did still, because growing up, you can't help but to hear to the Beastie Boys, Yeah. And that was one of the first ones that I can remember where a musician died that I cared for. And yeah, it just kind of sucks that he passed, because he's such a good person and so good at making music as well that, cancer took him. But I would say in general, like some of the hardest like celebrity deaths that have hit me, Kobe Bryant's hit me really hard. I'm not even a Kobe fan or a Lakers fan, I don't really watch basketball, but Kobe's death hit hard. That like changed my mindset a lot. Like, Kobe's, here's a guy who's got it all, he's on top of the world. Yeah. And he's gone. It's just gone. And it's like that can happen to anybody, anytime. And it just helps you, help me reprioritize, what's really important, and how you should use your time while you have time left. So Kobe, and then another one that hit me really hard was Bill Paxton, believe it or not.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because he's in a lot of my favorite movies. Like he's in Tombstone, he's in Apollo 13, not to mention a million other movies where he just kills it. Yeah, he's one of those. I feel like he's a forgotten guy. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
He's never he was the main guy in like one film, Twister. But he was always a really great supporting actor and always nailed it, in my opinion, or at least I loved him. Yep. And so that was one of the ones like, man, that sucks, because he was young still too. He wasn't super old. Very young. It's unexpected, and it sucked. But the very first celebrity death that ever hit me and was like, man, that sucks, was Chris Farley. When Chris Farley passed.
Oh yeah,
I love that guy. And when you find out, he died, it's like, oh, that sucks, And
yeah.
Anyways,
very troubled person. That is hard to know about. Yeah. It sucks because we see what we love in them, and then we don't always know all the backside of everything. But same thing. It helps you reprioritize. It helps you realize what's important, and to also not be like, we have this got very serious all of a sudden. But like with something like suicide, it is so easy to judge people, and it's so easy to assume that what's going on in their brains, but we don't know. So I think there's no point in judging, but just love them regardless and remember what they did well and how they helped you. So there you go.
Yeah. And continue with that, like, if you've never had suicidal thoughts and you've never been educated on that topic,
it's hard to understand.
It's hard. It is hard to understand for some people, but I wish they would, because be thankful that you've never had those thoughts.
Yeah.
Because I've never had those thoughts, but I've had, I have a psychology degree, so I've been exposed to stuff that, and just think, man, that's just, it sucks. It just really sucks,
Yeah.
And people definitely need to change their mentality about suicide for sure, and not see it as as a bad thing, but a tragic, unfortunate thing. So
absolutely. Next question though. So I got very serious. We did get very serious. We have covered every topic on this episode. When you think about it,
yeah, we've
talked about everything. Movies. Anyway, what are you gonna say? You had your fingers ready to go.
Yeah, I was just gonna say another like life hack, because I have it all figured out clearly.
You do, yeah.
Lower your expectations, and I'm not joking. Seriously, not just for yourself, for everything, life, family, friends. Life can be stressful, and I get that. Sorry, we're taking a serious TED talk here for a second.
Let's do it.
I don't know. I feel inspired. You're living in a time unlike any other time that's ever existed on this planet. least that we know of. If you can use a phone, if you know how to use a phone, a computer, you know what percentage of Americans, or not Americans, people that have ever lived know how to use a computer?
Seriously.
We're bombarded by information 24/7. We have these expectations to grow up, get a good job, and be on top of the world and be CEO or whatever. And I'm not saying don't have aspirations. It's good to have aspirations. It's good to take action, but don't be hard on yourself if you're not where you or society or anybody else thinks you should be in life. You're killing it where you're at. There's how many people have ever paid a mortgage? And the history of people,
seriously, in the history of
mortgages
have
been around for what? How long have mortgages been around? I don't know. I really don't know. But
69 years. Yeah.
Lots of people never owned property. Lots of people were I don't know, just be easy on yourself. If you can pay rent, if you can feed yourself, if you take care of the responsibilities you have as a person.
Oh yeah,
that's you're killing it, dude.
Exactly.
Don't feel bad about yourself because you're not a rock star or you're not getting however many likes you want on social media. You're doing a good job.
This is so stupid, but I heard a phrase not super long ago that was everyone was crap before they were the shit. And it weirdly was like, that is so
That's
true.
a good one.
We're
gonna get that tattooed on me now. Like a
on
poop
your lower
emoji.
back. On your lower
I'll get
back.
a poop emoji in my lower back. This is before anyone was the shit, they were before everyone was crap.
Everyone was crap before they were the shit. But it's
on
the
my
truth.
lower back.
On your lower back.
On my upper thigh,
each cheek.
it's coming out of my
each
butt.
cheek. But no, we did take a weird turn, but it is dead serious. I think so much, especially in the digital age, we think we have to have things figured out immediately. And if you have I hope I don't sound like a dick. If you have ever talked to somebody that has following on social media or they're in the entertainment industry, they have things less figured out than normal people. So please don't think that just because someone looks like they have it together, they don't. I am going to testify to you now, they do not have it figured out and they do not have it together. So don't compare yourself. Don't think that because, like I said, I'm not a rock star, I'm not famous, I'm not rich, that I'm not worth it. Everybody, if you got up today, if you opened your eyes and decided to keep going today, you did great. So the Dead Wax Show loves you.
Yeah.
Let's go to our next question.
Next question.
This one is a very big difference, so get ready.
Okay.
We've already brought her up, but Taylor VV on Instagram.
Taylor VV.
She asks, the Dead Wax taco restaurant or food truck, what is on the menu?
There's going to be...
Not just tacos, but
clearly tacos.
Yeah.
We will have al pastor, carne asada, and all your variety of tacos. I think we should also have a dessert taco. That sounds really good.
Yeah.
Choco tacos.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what else. What else are we expecting on this menu?
See, I think that we should have several different types of restaurants. We'll have Bread Wax, which is a bread factory. We're able to have our baked goods. We'll have Head Wax, which is where we serve salads. They're all Grateful Dead themed. I know. Gosh dang it. Disappointing in that one.
Our brothel record store.
Exactly. Actually, that's not a bad idea. Pizza Wax. Exactly. What's another food that rhymes?
Did you say Record Walk? That would be one of them. It's Chinese
food.
Yeah.
Exactly. Record Walk. That'd be super funny. Yeah. Or Dead Walks. I don't know, dude. We're
vegan
both
walk?
fat.
Our vegan records?
Vegan records. There you go. We're both fat, so we love food. So the restaurant will serve lots of good things. Yeah. We'll have chicken wings, we'll have chicken and waffles, we'll have burritos and tacos and whatever.
And my wife will work it. She's really good at cooking. We had tacos tonight, dude.
Did you?
She made authentic. I shouldn't say authentic because she's white as the driven snow. But we had really good
as the driven snow.
Yeah.
I share a podcast with Shakespeare.
We had tacos. She made some consomme with it, that we could dip the tacos in. And yeah, it was really good.
Dang, girl. And you had those bomb nachos for lunch too. You had a good day for food.
I had a good day for food. I get married. I 2 thumbs up.
I'm trying. Yeah. Sure,
trying to you. I'm just giving it 2 thumbs up as a rating in general. I know everyone's not going to give it 2 thumbs up. Some people have bad experiences with marriages, and your experience is 100% valid. I've heard some bad stories, but for me so far, I've been lucky.
We
I don't have a lot to offer, but guess what? No
Shut
expectations.
up. Oh my gosh. All right, next question. This is from our buddy Nikki No Good 315 on Instagram and TikTok.
Nikki No Good.
What fictional bands or artists would you love to see an actual album release from?
Sex Bomb. Easy.
That is the best answer. That is the best answer. The only answer that's as good as that is Crashing the Boys.
Crashing the Boys.
The only one that's as good.
The Mos Eisley Cantina Band. That's the only other one that's acceptable.
Oh, the Mos Eisley Cantina Band, for sure. Man, those are good answers.
Weren't they? What were those? I know, like, it's either the creature or the instrument they play. Something has to do with the word jizz, right?
It's the instrument. Or no, it's the style of music they play.
Oh, is it the style of music?
It's the style of music. It's called jizz.
Instead of jazz? I get it.
Yeah.
Okay. Very, very well done there.
We think we can go one episode without the word jizz, and here we go.
No.
The other band I thought of, and your kids watch Steven Universe, right?
Oh, yeah.
There's a band on Steven Universe called the Sadie Killers, and they're it's like the Sadie Killers, and they're a punk band, and they're freaking bomb. In the movie, they have the song "Disobedient," and it's like a genuinely great song. So I'd love for that. And there was another one, the Hex Girls from Scooby Doo. That'd be great. But that's just because I watched that at a very young age. I developed an attraction to goth girls. So that's the only thing. But
what
yeah,
up,
Sex
girls?
Bomb,
right?
What up, goth girls? You're already in my DMs enough. So anyway, the Sex Bomb answer is the best one though.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why I didn't think of that. Very good. Also, Crashing the Boys. I am so bad, so very, very sad. Last question of the night.
So sad.
And this one is pretty heavy. It's not
okay.
like not
heavier
like
than the death one.
Not but it's just a hard question. Are you ready? This comes from McKay's Music Corner on Instagram.
What's up, McKay?
And I don't think we've gotten a question from McKay before, so this is very exciting. What is your favorite record you own? That is a great question.
That is a great question. Why don't you go first since you had access to this?
Yeah, it's so hard because my answer changes constantly, right? Like my answer is constantly changing. But at the moment,
how we can both just turn and see our collections.
We're such dorks, dude. I know. My favorite one, if you guys, longtime listeners will remember, before we had the podcast, we were in front of our records. So not only is the album great, not only am I wearing the shirt, but Softkill is a fantastic band, and they are. This pressing is like stunning to me. So maybe some might not think it's very cool, but I absolutely love it.
Translucent. Okay,
are you doing okay?
Should I stroke in over here?
It's a transition. I'm trying to get it good with the light, but if you look, it's like it's got all these crazy grooves inside the purple. So it's more than just translucent. You can't see it very good on the camera. Gosh dang it. Anyway,
see. I'm looking.
You looking all right. Anyway, Softkill. This is Dead Kids R.I.P. City by Softkill.
Where's your blankie? Album. Is your blankie nearby?
It's too far away. No, it's too far away. Gosh dang it. But
How are you surviving?
Shirt. Not very well.
Shirt, it's hugging you.
Not very well.
Keeping you safe. Making you feel safe.
But Softkill, I'm a huge fan of. If you enjoy modern post-punk or modern goth rock, they're doing it better than anybody. And this is their newest album, Dead Kids R.I.P. City. Yeah, me neither. What's your favorite album, though, Stooge?
Dude, I can't find it right now. It's always hard to find.
Which is it?
I don't know why it's that way. It was going to show my Led Zeppelin one again, but I've showed it 100 times.
I love when you show it 100 times.
I've shown it 100 times, so I don't know. My favorite record, I'm trying to think. You think I'd go for something Black Keys, right?
Well, Softkill's not like my favorite band, but so.
That's just a black record too. It's like Plain Jane. Oh, I thought we were going for like artists and stuff like that. I guess it
could be anything. This is a very, very like open-ended question.
Very open-ended question.
There are no rules.
I feel like there's wrong answers. Is there a wrong answer?
There's no wrong answers. Do you want to do that voice again? I'm going to do it again.
Yeah. No, I'll just say it was that Led Zeppelin one, and we can Photoshop it in here.
Whoa.
Oh, I gotta hold it lower.
That's right. You gotta hold it lower. That is such a sick record. Love it.
Sick beans.
Yeah,
That's what beans. They say, right?
That's what the kids are saying on Twitter. Anyway, good question, McKay. Loved it.
Yes.
Thank you to everybody who submitted questions. We appreciate it very much. Look, we mention this every episode, but please follow us on social media, both on Instagram and TikTok, because on Instagram for the Dead Wax Show podcast, as well as on our personal pages that you can see right here, we post the ability to answer or ask questions of the Dead Wax Show that we will feature on the podcast. So follow us so you can be able to see those. Stooge, we've had a lot going on in this episode. We've been talking about records, Record Store Day, documentaries, Czarface, favorite records, Led Zeppelin, Soft Kill, all of that. Anything else you want to add today?
I just want to once again give a shout out to Kevin and Chris and thank them for coming on to our show. Yeah. It was great having them on. And once again, another reminder, because I don't think we've said it enough times, check out Vinyl Nation. It's great. And then check out Czarface if you haven't. That is also great.
You got two pieces of homework, everybody.
And then lastly, try not to be so hard on yourself, you know?
Amen.
Three
pieces of homework.
Yeah. Unless you're an asshole, then yeah, change that. You know, but if you're a decent human being just trying to make an honest living and make your way through this crazy thing called life, don't be hard on yourself.
Exactly. Don't listen to jizz. But dead serious. Like, be nice to yourself, be nice to everybody else. There it is. And that is today's episode, everybody. And there it is at the end of the day. There it is.
With a little bow on top of the episode.
A little bow on top of the episode. Larry David wrote this episode. Seriously, though, thank you to everybody who made it this far. We were going to say what the word is of the day. It was going to be bra, but we need to give some more context for that.
Maybe we should say Vinyl Nation. Let's say Vinyl Nation, bra.
Oh, there we go.
That way we can put it into the algorithm.
We see who actually knows at the
Vinyl
end.
Nation, bra.
So please comment Vinyl Nation, bra, if you made it this far in the end. We appreciate it very much. As always, thank you to everybody who listens to us. We're so grateful for all of you. We, especially with Record Store Day this last week, it was really nice for Stooge and I just to be reminded that it's more than just me and him that enjoy doing this, because we love doing this. But it's really nice. So thank you to everybody who interacts with us and lets us know how garbage we are, because it helps us be better.
We already know. Lower your expectations. See, look at that. Fixed your problem right there. Just
exactly. So thank you for commenting. Oh my gosh, if these two are doing the podcast, who's ringing the bells at Notre Dame? Because it helps us to know, what's going on in our lives. So thank you. As I said before, please follow us at Dead Wax Show on TikTok and Instagram and Twitter. We post a lot of the show updates and also just stupid fun things. So please follow us there. Stooge,
and there's a link to our store as well.
And guess what? There's a new design.
Yeah, I think we mentioned it last week, but it's worth mentioning it again.
Absolutely,
our Beavis and Butthead logo. I think I labeled it Waffles and Stooge Head is what I labeled it.
There we go. I love that. I love that.
So it's the classic Beavis and Butthead look. At the episode intros, it's just with me and Waffles in it instead. So we got a shirt. I think there's like mugs, sweaters, the whole gambit. So go there.
Start collecting all the Dead Wax variants. Yeah.
We got a bunch of variants.
Exactly.
We only got 2 actually right now.
A bunch, though. A bunch.
More to come, though.
Keep your eyes peeled.
Yep.
Keep your eyes and butts peeled. Whoa.
That was crazy. That hurt my eyes.
That was crazy. It looked like it hurt your eyes.
Yeah.
As always, everybody, thank you for listening. And you have a 4th piece of homework today. You have to get out of the groove. And you need to get into the Dead Wax. Goodbye, everybody. Have a marvelous night.
Or morning.
Or morning.